What's going on, YouTubers? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Natural Born Thriller, and welcome everyone to Impact Wrestling Review, the show from November 3rd, 2020. As usual, they're at Jacksonville, Florida. No, that's AEW. This is Impact Wrestling. They're in Nashville, Tennessee. Um, the commentators are Josh Matthews and Madison Rain. And let's not waste any time, folks. Let's get right into it because I'm way behind. I need to get to this episode and then to the next episode, and then I got to do the predictions pertains to the upcoming event on Impact Plus, which I'll get to when we get to that proportion of this results of it. So let's jump right into it. The opening show, basically the show recaps about what happened with Johnny Bravo getting shot and everything. The whole investigation of who shot Johnny Bravo, and now there's going to be some detective working in this investigation. And then when it's revealed who's going to be the detective, first, we'll see where it goes from there. And after 2 weeks, I'm done with it. And then you'll get to that reasoning why when I get to it, when I get to the second review of it, once we get to that go home show edition for the upcoming event for Impact Plus, all rotates to Impact Wrestling. I'll review it. I'll reveal it once I get to it. But Scott D'Amore was on the phone. He's with the doctors to hear about what's going on with Johnny Bravo. And Johnny Bravo, he's okay. He's in critical condition, as I thought he would. So he's still alive. It's going to be like the whole thing with The Simpsons of who shot Mr. Burns, where Mr. Burns got shot, and then he collapsed and on the sundial. Except in this case, Johnny Bravo got shot, and then he collapsed in the middle of the ring during the wedding. And Mr. Burns was still alive, and he's in the hospital in the coma, under critical. He's in critical condition. And same thing here with Johnny Bravo. He's in critical condition. He's in a coma. And now we're going to be in this investigation of who shot Johnny Bravo. Just like, again, with The Simpsons of who shot Mr. Burns. So, Tommy Dreamer shows up. And Tommy Dreamer heard about the news. And Tommy Dreamer is going to be under this investigation. And he's just like Sherlock Holmes. Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian, when they were in TNA at the time, back in 2013, when they were playing as Sherlock Holmes, they got away with that comedy act because they're funny. Tommy Dreamer, sometimes he could be funny, but this one, I didn't find anything funny about this. Brilliant, right? Just brilliant. So the opening match was for the Knockouts Championship, and I said to myself, oh god, why is this the opening match? And then it started come into influential of why it ends up being the opening match. So it's Su Yung defending her Knockouts Championship against the virtuosa Deonna Purrazzo, being accompanied by her manager. Well, she's not really a manager, but but she's always there with her, Kimber Lee. Match happens, ends up being pretty decent, but it didn't last long. It was about 5 minutes or so, and then it ended by disqualification because can't remember if so it was Kimberly doing the steel chair in the ring for Deonna Purrazzo. Both Su Yung and Deonna Purrazzo playing with the chair, tug of war. Su Yung got the best of it, hit Deonna Purrazzo with his chair in the mixed section, caused a DQ, and they still continue after the match with Su Yung going after Kimberly with his chair, and then the camera, and that was the end of that segment. And I was thinking to myself, it's gotta lead to something, because this wouldn't be set up like that for no good reason. Because Deonna Purrazzo, this is her rematch, her only rematch that she needs to get to go after the Knockouts title again. And the fact that they did this, this could be the end of her, of her getting another opportunity. So, but they did something different moving forward with this story, and we'll get to that when we get to it. So there you go. Also, we get to Heath and Randall, by the way. They're in the office with Scott D'Amore, the same room they were in before, with Heath trying to negotiate this whole contract situation with Scott D'Amore, and then it worked out well. And they thought it would work out well in this one, with Heath on getting ready to sign the dotted line. Everything that he's asked for, it's not like the one from before. It's gonna be different this time, except Scott D'Amore let him know that, but unfortunately, you're not doing well. You're injured, and he's not clear. He'll sign a contract when he's gonna ready, when he's healed up. But for now, and it's not going well, and he did not look happy, obviously. So, and they end up leaving. Also, we get to John Barrazo's league attorney, which is the lawyer, and is R.D. Evans. And he comes in to talk to Scott Demoy about what happened with the whole situation with John Barrazo and Su Young in that match that ended in disqualification. So Scott Demoy basically let him know that John Barrazo gets another opportunity. This time, it will be anything goes, no rules whatsoever, which means anything can happen in that match. Weapons, involvements, anything can happen in this match. And this time, we'll see what happens with that whole thing between John Barrazo and Su Young. And it's going to happen at Turning Point. That's right, Turning Point. And it will be this coming up this Saturday, on Impact Plus, and I will be watching. And same thing what they did with Sacrifice. I think it was Sacrifice if I recall. But the same thing they did with Sacrifice build-ups is the exact same thing they did with Turning Point 2 as well. And I'll get to that part when I get to it. I don't think it's going to be during this review. It's going to be the other review. I'll be discussing about it. So, be on the lookout for that one. And that's basically it. So we get the Impact World Champion Rich Swann, and of all people, Eddie Edwards there. And they're talking, about teaming up and everything. And can't wait to see those two team up, right? I had no problem with Rich Swann. I have a problem with Eddie Edwards. That's the problem I have with this whole thing. But we'll get to that match when we get to it. Yeah, but nothing to say about that. I guess eventually they'll do something leading up to Rich Swann and Eddie Edwards when they have a match. You have friendly competition for the title. I'm assuming that's what it's going to lead to. If that's the case, Eddie Edwards cannot get that belt back. That's all I'm going to say from there. Exhibition match. We have the Ultimate Finesser, Chris Bay, versus the Fresh Prince of Midair, I meant to say. I was going to say something else. Trey Miguel of the Rascals. I should say that when it comes to Trey Miguel, I think I talked about this before when I did the live reaction. Trey Miguel is going to be part of the Super J Cup of 2020 for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to New Japan Pro Wrestling, because I don't know what the condition is where it pertains to traveling to Japan, during this damn pandemic. But they're doing the Super J Cup in America, along with TJP. I can't remember who else is gonna be in the two. Oh yeah, the former Jordan Miles. The quote unquote slave name that he once claims. When he was in WWE. Even though it is kind of a slave name, but it's basically a WWE slave name. And I've been mentioning this for years. But since the WWE are bringing these talented wrestlers into WWE, then they got to change their names because we didn't make you, so we're gonna make you. With our names. That's basically what where the whole slave name came from. With this company. But. It's been going on for years too. I'm not just talking about change to 2000s or 2020s. 2010 I meant to say. But it's still continuing with WWE. What are the odds, right? They never change. But anyways, but yeah, that's basically it for that one. Chris Bay and Trey Miguel had a good match here, but Chris Bay getting the win here. Yeah, so Chris Bay, looking strong in this match, and he has to because he's going into the Super J Cup tournament. He needs to get wins, right, to get momentum and to have someone like Chris Bay, who's in Impact Wrestling, to be talked about this company, about how good Chris Bay is, right? You'll find out once I get to that review, the next review of Impact Wrestling, which is going to be the Go Home Show edition for Turning Point. But it's more about Chris Bay. We'll get to him later. We get to locker room talk with Madison Rain, with the co-host Johnny Swinger, and the guest will be Jordan Grace, and Tina Dashwood with Caleb with a K. And basically, it's about Jordan Grace and Tina Dashwood being a tag team, for this whole Knockouts tag team tournament that's going to be happening. It's going to happen next week, by the way. Can't wait for that, by the way. And basically, because these two don't like each other, they hate each other in a way, and they're going to be forced to be a tag team because there's no one else, in Impact Wrestling to be team up with, unless they want to unless one of them want to team up with Alicia Edwards. Anyways, so Tina Dashwood was like, you know what, they're talking and everything, and all of a sudden she says, Master Rain, like, oh god. Hey, it would be nice to see Master Rain back in there, but then after what happened, this week on Impact Wrestling, I'll get to have a review when I get to it. But yeah, I was like, you know what, I'm liking this. Let's see what they do with this one. So Master Rain agreed to it. Jordan Grace leaves, and that was it. Nothing to say about that. And Tina Dashwood was doing some Instagrams, photos with Master Rain or Caleb with Kate taking pictures and everything, and Giant Swinger's trying to be trying to get into the shot there, and there you go. Nothing to say about that. Sherlock Dreamer, that's what I'm gonna call him by. Sherlock Dreamer, because he dressed like Sherlock Holmes. But Sherlock Dreamer is questioning Brandon Tully. I think that's how you say his last name. But yeah, he's the referee that had issues with Johnny Bravo in the past, and he's the official senior referee since Johnny Bravo is no longer the referee of Impact Wrestling anymore, because they got better things to do with him, or quote unquote better things for him to do in Impact Wrestling as a character. So he was being questioned, and basically he's gonna be under investigation of that he's an accomplice, that he shot Johnny Bravo because he's got an agenda. And then all of a sudden, basically it was during the whole thing with Father Bob versus Johnny Swinger, which is the whole who's gonna be the best man. That's where the whole thing happened, where Johnny Bravo said that Brandon was not doing a good job as a referee and everything, blah blah blah, and that's what led to Brandon, who may have shot Giant Swinger. And then Giant Swinger and the Dino. Oh yeah, at this point, Brandon totally leaves. He was done for now. And then Giant Swinger and Cody Dino shows up, and they're bittering and everything, and and they have a match next and everything. And Tony Dreamer said, after your matches, you'll come back here, and and guess what? The matches never came up, until later on. The whole thing was that it was supposed to be next because they're during in the interrogation room, and the match is next. Also, we get to the next segment, and it was not even next. It was later on. Stupid. So let's get to another defeat Rajul challenge for the X Division Championship, right? So that's the shit man. Shit Rajul comes out, and he's doing his open challenge and everything, fighting newcomers and all that, right? All of a sudden, TJP comes out, and Rajul says, "No, you had your chance at Bound for Glory, and you lost." So TJP tells him that he isn't here to challenge him. Instead, he wants to discuss what happened during that 6-way scramble at Bound for Glory, and TJP is talking about how Rajul is a coward, tends to defend the title for the past few weeks, and then he runs down all of his accomplishments in Impact Wrestling, including with him being a former X Division champion. And I'm like, no, your character behind the costume of Manic was X Division champion. TJP was never X Division champion. It was the character Manic who was the X Division champion. So anyways, so Rajul didn't care about his accomplishments that he talked about, because what he's done lately, and he wants him to leave the ring and all that. And basically he basically they had an exchange of words at each other, and it was good. It was pretty good. It was intense. It led to a point where TJP threw his hot tea, which it was not really hot, onto Roshit Raju, and they start fighting and everything. And then Roshit as rolling out the ring with his exhibition title. I'm sorry, he forgot his title, and then TJP grabs his title and holds up in the air. That's what happened. So, and that was it. We'll get to that later. We'll get to more of that later. Then we get to Gia Miller, excuse me, who interviews Chris Sabin, where it tends to happen with the whole thing with Triple XL taking out Alex Shelley, and he's issuing a match for one of the guys by the next episode of Impact Wrestling, the home show edition for Turning Point, which we'll get to when we get to it. So there you go. Then we go backstage and we see TJP and Rohit Raju once again arguing. This time Scott D'Amore is there catching to break it up, and he has a proposal. If Rohit Raju wins, then TJP will no longer get a shot at the title, as long as Rohit Raju is still the champion. And there you go. It's all set up. Now I thought it was going to lead for a Turning Point, but it wasn't. It's going to be something else. We'll get to that when we get to the predictions of it. And also, I might talk about it a little bit when I do the second review of it. So, there you go. Oh, this match. Oh, my God. Nothing wrong of who's in the match. It's how this was booked. All Ego into Page with Josh Alexander versus the big LG Doc Gallows being accompanied by Machine Gun Carl Anderson. So this match happens, and Ethan Page kept leaving the ring because Doc Gallows was getting the better of him. Eventually they after he kept doing that, like what about 3 or 4 times he's been doing that, and at this point I was like I couldn't get into the match at this point, and they started building up to a point where I didn't care anymore, and then we get to a point where Josh Alexander got involved a little bit, and then when Carl Anderson saw enough, he got involved, and then all of a sudden Doc Gallows was in the corner. Ethan Page runs to him. Doc Gallows gets a big boot up, and then Ethan Page sells it like he got knocked out. And the way he sold it too, he was bouncing, and then he falls down, and then Doc Gallows goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. And I said to myself, what? That's the finish? A normal boot out of a freaking corner ends the match. And it wasn't even a good big boot either. I mean, Ethan Page told it like it was. Are you freaking kidding me? That's the finish. That was so stupid. And then also the two teams started fighting each other. And then that was the end of that. What a stupid finish they did there. So next we get to Gia Miller, who interviews, of all people, Swoggle. And to make matters even worse, Brian Myers interrupts. And I didn't care for it. Moving on. Oh, speaking of something I didn't care about either, Cody Dinger in a match, and he's being coached by his cousin Jake versus Giant Swinger. A match didn't last long. It was more of a comedy than it was a match, and Giant Swinger wins. I didn't care that Giant Swinger win. But I just didn't care about this match at all. This show was. So let me get to the TNA World Heavyweight Champion Moose makes an announcement, and he makes his way down to the ring. By the way, I think it was during this. It was during this episode of Impact Wrestling. I think Moose has surpassed one of the greatest entrants in pro wrestling history. I think so. Just the way it was done too. It was awesome. So Moose begins with the interview, saying that in the last few months, I meant to say, where he's not being treated seriously as as being the champion, the so-proclaimed champion that the TNA. I mean TNA. Well, I wish they were called TNA at this point, since they're bringing this belt back. Impact Wrestling. With the store that this, the TNA belt, you found it and everything over there, and it's not real and everything, and like, oh my god, this is ridiculous, and then like, hopefully this will mean something later on, but I guess we'll see what happens when that happens. But he admits that the following match with EC3, which I'll get to more about EC3 later, from Bound for Glory, is that he is now controlling his narrative. Because that's one of EC3's catchphrase: control your narrative. So he listed all his accomplishments and talking about how he's beaten a former TNA star in EC3. Sorry, folks. I thought I was gonna sneeze. He said especially in all his matches too, which is that he's done, and he understands. He doesn't understand why fans would rather talk about Rich Swann, who is the Impact World Champion, and he talked about how he's talking about that's the second best championship title in Impact Wrestling, and not talking about him, where it takes him being the first best world champion in Impact Wrestling, where it takes him being the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And he threatens that he'll hold the show up, potentially with Swann, the whole situation, and then also he gets confronted by Willie Mack because he's got issues with Willie Mack now, and they start fighting, and it was a weird fight too, by the way. So Willie Mack runs down the ring to beat up on Moose. Moose pushes Willie Mack to the cameraman, and Willie Mack's like, "Yo, man, what are you doing?" Because he's just a regular cameraman, just filming stuff in that building, just a regular cameraman that works for Impact Wrestling. So the story here is that because Willie Mack got pushed into the cameraman is somehow involved of Moose beating up on Willie Mack now. That's how I see this whole thing played out. So Willie Mack is talking to the cameraman like, what are you doing? And also Moose gets him a cheap shot, and then Moose wraps up the he wraps the cable from the camera from the camera's cable thing around the neck of Willie Mack. Basically the cable cord around the neck of Willie Mack. By using this cameraman's the same cameraman with the camera. Yeah. Like it's like, okay, so now we're involving cameramans involved now in this whole story now with Moose. And that was basically it. And we'll get to more about Willie Mack and Moose once we get to predictions of it, because that's gonna be part of Turning Point, by the way. It wasn't announced until the next episode of Impact Wrestling, which was a Go Home Show edition. Next we get to Rich Swann. He's been confirmed by Chris Bay, and yeah, Chris Bay. I guess they're telling us here like eventually in the future, Chris Bay might get an opportunity against Rich Swann, for the Impact World title. Hey, I will take Chris Bay than Eddie Edwards. So Chris Bay wants Rich Swann to go to Impact Management to issue a title shot because Chris Bay feels like he's earned it. Former X Division champion, even though it didn't last long because they decided to put on Rohit Raju and do what they did with him with that belt, and it's not going to end anytime soon. Rich Swann says it doesn't work that way basically, and then ultimately Edwards shows up and says, "You ready?" And like, yeah, and they're ready and all that, and they start leaving. Chris Bay looking disappointed a little bit, and that was it. Not much to say about that. But yeah, we'll talk more about what happened the Go Home Show edition for the next review of Impact Wrestling. Also, we get to Sherlock Dreamer, with 10 suspects in the room with him. Basically it's Father James Mitchell, Ty Valkyrie, Rosemary. I believe I saw Jessica Havoc. I think so. Also the referee Brandon Tolley, Falaba, Hernandez. The Deaners, I believe, were there too. I can't remember if John Streamer was there either. But it was like at least 10 people there. So basically, they're all on the investigation. and they'll take mug shots, and that was it. I mean, the mugshot looked pretty funny though, but we'll get to more about what they did with this one on the next episode. When I get to the next review, because we get to the main event, Eric Young and Sami Callihan, a dream tag team by the way here, because of how these two of their characters, with them being insane and out of this world in a way, especially Eric Young, against Eddie Edwards and Rich Swann. Rich Swann I like, Eddie Edwards I don't like. Maybe if he changes a bit, go back to the old Eddie Edwards, maybe I will like him again. But the match itself was pretty good. The tag team match that they had, it gelled pretty well. I can't remember if Sami Callihan may have did the whole hacking system again that he was doing with his cell phone. I don't think he did, but I could be wrong. But yeah, all I know is that this match was good. Back and forth of action, and they were doing some Eric Young and Sami Callihan was going to do a double team, which I thought it would have been awesome if they would get together. But unfortunately, the faces they reversed it. So yeah, so much for that, right? But in the end, Sami Callihan and Eric Young, I meant to say, they did win. I think because Ken Shamrock came out there for the distraction. Yeah, he did for the distraction, and all I can say is that at least Eddie Edwards lost the match. Because if they would have took Swann, which would have been fine too, because she's it's a tag team match and all that. But if they would have took Swann, not to Eddie Edwards, then they're just protecting the hell out of Eddie Edwards just for the sake of it. It does get tiresome when they do that too. But they standing tall and all that, and that was it. That was the end of the show. And that was Impact Wrestling. The show from November. I can't remember the date now. I think it was the 4th or 3rd. Yes, it was the 3rd. November 3rd of 2020. Total My Wrestling was 5. It would have been 6 matches if the whole thing where Raju would have had that open challenge of his, but instead we didn't get a match at all from there. So it was 5 it was 5 matches that we had. My overall rating for the show was, if I can remember, it was either around a 7 out of 10 or a 7.5 out of 10. Either way, despite a couple of stupidities that they did on the show here, I still thought the show was for the least decent to good. And not much to say about that. So there you go, folks. That's all I gotta say from there. So thank you for watching. And as usual, subscribe, notification bell, for any more of future contents on here. Like the video, dislike it, don't care, but thank you all for tuning in. And there you go. Not much to say about that. And yeah, you'll be seeing more routines to build up Turning Point, because I thought that was gonna lead to more build-ups for Turning Point for this show, but then again, this was Impact Wrestling, doing things last minute, like they did before, and and here they are doing this again, and we'll talk more about that when we get to it, especially how the show was being produced. But yeah, that's all I gotta say from there. Thank you all for watching. Stay well, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and all that. So basically, I'm just gonna just wrap it over here, because I want to get, because I'm way behind for these reviews. So I'll see you all on the next one. Take care.